Hi, it's Hans Schumann, executive career and life coach and author of the book, Falling in Love with Your Job. Welcome to my Changing Careers show, in which you will see interviews with people who managed to create a career they truly love by either changing their profession or setting up their own business. And today my guest is Neve Barker, an ex-pharmacist who set up 2 online businesses that have absolutely nothing to do with the pharmaceutical industry. Welcome to the show, Neve.
Good afternoon, Hans.
Thank you for joining us today. You must be a very busy woman. I know from running my own business, it's a lot of work, and you've got 2 of them. And we want to hear all about it. But before I would love to hear more about your previous life as a pharmacist. Tell us a little bit about this.
Okay, so that goes back a while. My career in pharmacy, in fact, my business is 10 years old this year. So I left pharmacy, my career in pharmacy 10 years ago, almost exactly. I started out as a hospital pharmacist when I graduated from Bath University. And then I went on quite quickly to a career in the pharmaceutical industry. And most laterally was head of UK medical affairs at Pfizer, a big US pharmaceutical company. Pfizer moved offices when I was about to have my first child, and I decided, different reasons, but it was a long commute. They were moving offices, and it seemed like a good time to make a change with a little bit of financial backing. And it was at that point that I started my own business.
Wow.
Which was the Travel Wrap Company, which is a Scottish cashmere. Well, what we do is we offer Scottish cashmere wraps and accessories online. Used to offer them to wholesale, B2B, but we've changed our model in the last couple of years, and now we almost do have an exclusive e-commerce business selling to many different countries all over the world.
Well, this is huge. And you know, lots of people who leave their corporate job, they go for something when they set up a business that is kind of related to their previous profession. You didn't. How did you get to something that is so completely different from anything that you've done before?
Yeah, no, I think it's quite funny in itself, actually. So I came from 6 kids, and I think all of us were born doing science A-levels. I don't think I had a choice when I was born. I was always going to do science A-levels. I came from a sort of medical background. My dad was a dentist. So we got lots of scientists in the family. All my siblings, all 5 of my siblings have done some sort of career in science, engineering, medicine, whatever. So I was kind of born doing physics, chemistry, and biology A-level, which is our sort of senior, just before we leave school exam. So I was kind of forced into this little, sort of a bit of a square, as a round peg in a square hole, I suppose. I think I always would have probably been much better in lots of ways doing something creative. I never really got the opportunity, and then this opportunity came along when I was at Pfizer to just take a complete turn in the road and do something totally different. So here I am. I really enjoyed my career in pharmacy. I miss sometimes, what do I miss about it? I miss the clinical stuff when I started working in the industry. I used to miss the sort of patient care, the hands-on stuff. And then laterally, I suppose I used to miss the corporate environment, which is an odd thing to say, but I did miss the people engagement. It's a lonely old path, at least for the first few years running your own business. And there isn't much of that. And I miss that. And I still miss that a bit, working on my own. Well, I don't work so much on my own these days, but I miss that, running my own business.
But you're keeping yourself certainly busy. Earlier this year, you launched your second online business, the Beach Board. If I understand it correctly, it's a little bit like an Airbnb for beach huts. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. It's called thebeachboard.com. And it's a completely different business. It's it's a tech platform. It's like a mini Airbnb for beach huts, effectively. So people there's a sort of 2-sided model. There's the beach hut owners and the guests. Everyone registers on our website called thebeachboard.com, and then you can either list your beach hut, or you can go on our website and find a beach hut and rent it for the day or a couple of days. So that's really very, very early stages yet. And you're absolutely right, Hans, it's a totally different model. It's funny actually, because I've done a few business programs along the way. One of them was a Goldman Sachs, it's called the 10KSB small business program, and I used to look around the room at these business programs and think the people that are really scaling businesses and kind of making it work very quickly are the tech entrepreneurs, you know, the sort of 25-year-olds with some really great tech idea. So I thought, maybe slightly still ill-advisedly, I'm not a technologist, that's my difficulty, but I know lots of technologists these days, and I thought I had this good idea about beach huts that nobody'd been doing before, so I thought, well, I kind of can't not do it. So I got my web guy just to build a platform. So we've got this platform now, and now of course we have the trouble of marketing that to the world, which is what we're beginning to try and do now, but it's a very slow start. The Travel Wrap company, my main business, is that's where we're making and growing a proper grown-up business, and it's beginning to work quite well, actually.
Well, it sounds like you have a truly entrepreneurial spirit, and I wonder whether you've always had this, or is this something that you only discovered later in your life?
I don't know. I think I'd be very hesitant to call myself an entrepreneur until maybe a couple of years ago. I think for the first few years, Hans, to be honest, it was an expensive hobby. And then I did the 10KSB business program, the Goldman Sachs UCL business program, that kind of transformed things for me. It was like a mini MBA almost, filled in a lot of gaps for me, a lot of the sort of financial marketing things, that skill sets that I just hadn't had. And it's only in the last couple of years that I can properly call myself a sort of, you know, grown up entrepreneur, actually doing something useful that's making money.
Well, there is a lot to learn. I know this myself. And you know, what I admire so much is you told me you're also looking after 6 children. When people hear about my career change, they may say, all right, okay, he's a single guy, he doesn't have kids. It would be different if you had a family, but you have that. That's a lot of people to look after.
It is, yeah. Although I think this bit keeps me sane sometimes, you know. And of course, you know, the older ones have now moved on and they're at university. We still get lots of them coming back. I still haven't stopped making the bedroom, you know, the spare bed. So we've really only got the 2 living at home. There's a couple at uni, and then there's one of them has gone off overseas. Another one is doing a PwC graduate course. So they come and go. But yeah, no, my day starts very early, Hans. I start at about 5:30 in the morning. And then sort of, I try and do a bit of exercise, a little bit of meditation, and then I come in here and get going. And then it means that at the end of the day, you know, I can pick my girls up, I can take them to music lessons or, you know, whatever, surfing or whatever they're going to that evening, and have a bit of family time as well. So I'm quite ruthlessly efficient, I would say, about my schedule during the day.
Well, you know, that's brilliant. You know, the first thing that people drop is the exercise and the meditation, and you're doing all of this. I mean,
no, that's a deal breaker for me. I've tried it both ways, and exercise and meditation allows me, I know I've got to do it at the beginning of the day, otherwise it just falls by the way. So I ran a half marathon, in fact, on Sunday, which is the first one I've done in a while. But that again is another. It's like a little life hack for me. It helps the rest fall into place, you know.
Well, that brings me to my next question, because you know there's so many people who dream about doing what you did, leaving corporate life and setting up an online business. What would be your top tip for anybody who's considering such a change?
Well, do you know, Hans, I kind of look back on it, and I think, you know, I spent many years walking through treacle, as I sometimes say to people. It's been a long, hard, lonely journey at times, but I often, again, I look around the room at these business things I go to, and I think the biggest skill set I was probably missing when I started my own business was my sort of financial skill set, and I think that's the most critical bit of starting and running a business. So if you haven't got a financial background, which I didn't have, then sooner rather than later bring somebody on board that does, or, you know, do a bookkeeping course or something, do something so that you're a bit more kind of financially aware before you get going, because that was the missing bit of the equation for me. There was one year, sort of 4 years into the business, we lost 30,000 pounds, and I wasn't even aware of it until my accountant told me at the end of the year. So I've been through lots of ups and downs with it. So I would say, that I think that's the one advantage that people have. If they've got some sort of financial background, then it helps enormously when you get a business started. It's one thing having a good idea, which we did have, really, really interesting original idea, which worked very well and was loved by everybody that that saw one of our travel ramps. But actually, I didn't know financially how to put a business together, and that was where I struggled. I'd also say just do one thing and do it really well. Keep refining the model. Forget about getting bigger, and then it just comes. And that's kind of what's beginning to happen with our business.
Thank you for being so authentic about it, because I think you need to understand these things. I just went to a workshop where somebody talked about the trappings and traps of running your own business. When we think about setting up our own business, we often think about the trappings, being your own boss, having all that freedom. But there is another side to this that sometimes we may not fully understand when we get into this business. Would you agree with that?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, it's so hard. Well, I said earlier in the interview, it's a lonely place for the first few years, because if you're growing it organically, you can't really afford to be surrounded by lots of people helping you do that. It's a lonely place. It's an anxious place. How many hours have I spent in the middle of the night worrying about cash flow and finances and what are we going to do next? And and making decisions. I make decisions all the time. Every day I make decisions. Sometimes I wish somebody else would make a decision for me, So you're kind of, until you get a bit of momentum on it, it's the hardest thing by a long shot I've ever done, and that includes, climbing the corporate ladder, having 2 kids, running a house with 6 kids, all of those things. This is the thing that keeps me awake at night. And don't do it for financial gain is my other advice. Do it because you want to do something and want to do it right. And I wouldn't, in some ways I wouldn't change any of it for the world, but my goodness, it's been a painful and at times excruciating journey, to get to here.
Well, I can so understand what you're saying. Thank you. We're nearly at the end of our interview. And now if somebody wants to find out more about the travel board company or the beach board, how can they find you?
They can go straight to our website, Hans. So Travel Wrap is at thetravelwrapcompany.com. And again, we sell to anybody in the world. You can buy our lovely collection online. The beach board again is online. It's thebeachboard.com, and you can find us there and a little bit more about us and register and for a beach hut as an owner or a guest. And I hope people do.
Well, thank you for your time today and for being so open, honest with us about all the the pluses and the minuses of risks.
You're very welcome, Hans.
And I wish you all the best for your businesses. That's all for today. Thank you for watching the show. If you would like to see more interviews with people who manage to create a career they love, then do subscribe to the channel. And if you would like to be on the show to talk about your career transition, then do send me a message. I would love to hear from you. Thanks very much and see you soon.